Man, what's going on? Another quick one before I go eat my damn food, man. All right. I'm hearing some, people talking about, I guess, the looting and the violence that's going on. And, how people are really appalled by it. Like, oh, well, how are you expect to get anywhere if you're causing violence and if you're looting, which is still a question of that because even with the governments have said and that, okay, these actual protests are being infiltrated by other groups who are actually doing all the actual most of the violence is actually occurring, and all the looting is kind of weird to me. How some places, some places they are being looted, but other places you see there's no videos, no nothing. It's just empty. You just see the quote, the aftermath, all these phones, and somehow with these certain places, there's no videos being taken on any of this stuff. That to me kind of is weird. You know what I mean? Let me kind of go in here, break all this stuff, take all this stuff out of here, file the insurance policy, get all that money for it, and then still sell all this stuff and double up. I'm just saying, weird things could be going on with that. But that to the side, let's just kind of get on to the actual, things. Let's say everything is what they say it is, right? Let's say people are going out there, they're going crazy, they're looting, they're doing all the things that they say that, they're doing, and how people are possibly, talking about how, that's not the way to quote do things. And to me, it sounds weird, especially with the people that are saying it. It's very weird to me because when you look at the history of this particular country, it's like this entire country from the beginning was built on, quote, getting what you want through looting and through violence. You know, from the second they stepped onto these particular shores, there were other people here. They didn't go out there and talk with them nicely. They got rid of them and got what they wanted through looting and violence, taking their stuff, burning their stuff, taking everything of theirs, including their lives, in order to get what they want. Even under British rule, even when under British rules, one of the first things was like I guess it was Bacon's Rebellion. The first was seen as one of the major rebellions that they had in the United States, which was the Scots, it was the Irish, and it was the blacks who were fighting in order to get certain rights. They didn't like how they were being treated. So then the British turn around and say, okay, when it comes to the Irish and the Scots, we'll make you equal to the British citizens that are over here. You're equal. We're gonna have you in the same level as us. And then the Africans, they basically took away all their rights as a human being, where basically anybody could do whatever the hell they wanted to do to you, and you weren't allowed to resist, regardless of what they were doing to you. It was illegal, and kind of then pushing things down to those places where they are even to today, And then after that, being in school, one of the biggest thing I always hear about, we heard when we were little, was the Boston Tea Party. How they went up in there and, no taxation without representation. They went to these ships dressed like Native Americans, took all their the tea that was on those boats and threw them out into the oceans and burned the boats and killed the soldiers that are over there. Did all this looting and violence in order to try to get what they wanted. After that, things end up escalating, leading to, to the war, rebellion against British rule, and the Americans got what they wanted through looting and through violence is how they got it. It wasn't through talking. It wasn't through peaceful means. And then you go through obviously all with the slavery and everything. That's obviously the same thing in order to get what you want. And then, the Southerners, they're kind of doing their thing. The Easterners, they're kind of getting into the industrial, more industrial type of things that was going on in the East. And kind of, living different lives almost. So the South says, you know what? We're good with the way we're living. We really don't need y'all. We're going to separate from you guys. You do what you do. We're going to do what we do. We'll stack up our money. We'll take care of ourselves. You take care of yourselves. And the Union said, no, absolutely not. We're going to stay one country. We're going to stay united as one. And they got what they wanted, keeping this country as one whole by looting and violence. Taking the loot, which was the slaves of the Southerners, burning a lot of their crops, burning a lot of their farms, you know, and a massive amount of the population losing their lives in order to get what they wanted. It wasn't through talking, it wasn't through peaceful manner. It was through looting and violence. And then all through, even after slavery ended, all through the Jim Crow laws, you know, all the race riots that they had, which is basically when people went into predominantly, black neighborhoods and burning places down, you know, lynching people onto the trees, things of that nature. That went through, like Rebellion of 1919 in Chicago. Same type of thing. That happened all the time. Happened all the time. If you go look at, Black Wall Street, that happened all over the country as well. They're doing well. We don't like that. We want things a certain particular way. We don't like the way this is going. So what did they do? They went over there, they looted and committed violence, burned the place down, murdered a whole bunch of people, and forced them into the place that we want them to be. All the way into the civil rights. It was the same thing where people are sitting there trying to do it the peaceful way. Hosing people down, sicking dogs on them, shooting them in the streets in order to maintain a certain way of things going through looting and violence. And even now, it's just now that we have cameras where you can see the violence that's put onto, that's been consistently put onto people. That's why the things that are going on right now, because now there are cameras. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has a camera now. So you consistently now see things that we didn't see, weren't able to directly see in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s all the time, and the 90s. It was just what people said, that, this is how we're living. This is what's going on. This is what's happening to us in these particular neighborhoods. But you never knew exactly what's going on. But now you see it on a consistent basis with your own eyes. And it doesn't matter what anybody says, you see it with your own eyes. And it's how even now, as a country right now, whenever we want anything done, especially overseas, we get it done. We implement it through violence. Saddam Hussein isn't doing what we want him to do, even though he's not bothering us as a country. We need to go commit some violence, in order to get what we want. Even right now, we give Saudi Arabia money and we give them weapons to go commit violence in the surrounding areas, to go implement certain things that we want implemented. So this whole country, this whole foundation of it was built on looting and violence. And the only time progress was made was through looting and violence. That was it. They got what they wanted through looting and violence. And even now, when it comes to other countries, we get what we want. The United States gets what it wants through violence. And the only time they don't use violence against people like a South Korea, against like a Russia, countries like that, is because their ability to be able to bestow violence on you. Not from far away, but to bring it to your shores and bring it directly to your homes. That what makes them sit back and makes them dialogue and talk and not use that same method. So we know, you see all through history, it shows that just talking hasn't done anything, and violence, unfortunately, if you see, that's the one thing that people understand. And people step back and say, okay, something can happen to me or something can happen to my family members. So we need to take care of this problem, because even though I might be profiting off what's going on and the way the system is set up, now it's put into a situation where this is more important than those profits that I'm making off of this system that's set up right now. So all I'm saying is the whole being outraged thing, people you really need to stop it, because when you see this whole country, you see what it's built on, and you see how things have gotten done has been through that. So you can't be a kettle now calling a pot black because they're doing exactly what you're doing. It's like once when a king, went to a pirate that was going around looting, certain places in the country, And he's like, yo, look at all the things that you're doing. You're over here supposedly giving to your people, but you're over here looting and you're stealing from people, everything. And the pirate looks at them and said, you're going through all these countries around, murdering and pillaging and doing a million times what I'm doing to other people. You know what I mean? So how are you going to look at me and look down on me and what I'm doing, little old me, with this little tiny thing that I'm doing, when you're doing it on a millionth scale? You know, so you can't do something on this scale and you're seeing this little thing happen over here and look at those people that are doing this little thing and look at them and say, oh, and be appalled. That's BS. You know? It's just something that I've, observed. But it is what it is. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.